Hey everyone, I'm back. Hope you guys have been enjoying yourselves. It's been beautiful over here in Connecticut, thank goodness. But today we're going to be going through my entire collection of Paramount releases on VHS. As besides Disney, Paramount is probably the second largest collection of movies I own. And well, Paramount is a good company, and of course they've been putting out some really good films. You know, the Sonic live action films, Top Gun Maverick, that new Dungeons and Dragons movie. That was a really good one. So I wanted to take this time to show off my collection of what I gotten as of this year, 2023. So let me not waste the time. So let's just go with it. There's a lot to cover. Of course, we got to go through the clamshells first, then the slip covers. I don't really have much of the slip covers. I apologize. um, Now pretty much the entirety of them are Nickelodeon releases, and the other are Peanuts. So, well, let's just go through them as much in order, as far as I know. The first one is Harriet the Spy. This is Nickelodeon's first theatrical film. It came out in 1996. This VHS is from, I'm going to say, 1997? I believe so. Now, I never expected to buy it considering, I don't know, I don't know why, it's always been hard to find for me. Of course, we all know about Nickelodeon's original home media releases. It came in orange clamshells. And the artwork on here is always kind of loud, showing you guys, this is a Nickelodeon product. We will show how kids rule, adults stink. And of course, Nickelodeon releases come with an orange tape. Okay, here's the tape itself, the end label, and mine's been printed the fourth week in 1997. The next one is, of course, a lot of you guys know, the Rugrats movie. It came out in 1998, and it came out on VHS and DVD in 1999. They still use the same DVD like years later, and it's kind of not good. The thing is, when it came out on DVD, it came in full screen, sure, but it also came in widescreen. But the problem is that the widescreen is letterboxed, so it's not in the right aspect ratio. But yeah, this is probably the most notable Nickelodeon release on VHS. I love the design. It's definitely Rugrats. It truly is Rugrats. I had this tape for many years when I collected. Here's the tape. Printed the ninth week of 1999. And if you remember, it is a better condition copy. It came with, of course, the savings insert. It also came with this growth chart. Yeah, overall, it's still a really cool release. Continuing with the Rugrats, here's Rugrats in Paris. The definite better film of the trilogy, if you will. This came out in 2000, and I believe the VHS came out in also 2000, apparently. This is another memorable release from Nickelodeon and Paramount as well. Here's the tape label. This is a pretty typical Paramount label design. Mine is printed the sixth week of 2001. Of course, we gotta talk about Jimmy Neutron. Yep, this is Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius. Of course, you can see at the back here, I own the complete series on DVD. That was $40 wasted perfectly here. But yeah, here's the original VHS, which came out in 2002 to celebrate Paramount's 90th anniversary celebration. Printed the 23rd week of 2002. The next one is Hey Arnold the movie. Of course, I don't really like this movie a lot, but I'll explain why I have two copies. Let me check something first. Yeah. But yeah, Hey Arnold the movie came out around 2002. Here's the tape. Printed the 48th week of 2002. The second one I have here is a Canadian copy. While the packaging may look the same, the label is not. It is a silkscreen label, something that Paramount doesn't do. But yeah, here is Hey Arnold the movie. It's not really that good in general, though. The Jungle movie is. That's a good movie. Here's Rugrats Go Wild, the third of the Rugrats films. Now, it originally came in a red case, though I put in an orange one to fit with the other two releases. Don't worry, this was a older copy I had of the Rugrats movie, so here's the tape. Printed. This is actually a recycled cassette. The 11th week of 1999 and the 46th week of 2003. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie. This is probably the latest of the Paramount VHS releases. This and another one. This came out in March of 2005, not on DVD. Well, it was, but also on VHS. There is another version that came with a slipcover, which I believe those are more easily accessible, though I'd say to go for a little bit more and get the clamshell edition. I had this for quite a while. And of course, my copy here is a Canadian copy. And the cartridge date on mine is 10 of 43. Alright, the last 5 of the Paramount clamshell releases are the Peanuts, some of the Peanut specials. I'm going to go in order, or as best as I can in order. But I know this is the first one they ever made. Our Charlie Brown Christmas. This was released back in 1965. Of course, it's a wonderful special. Now, as for these Peanuts clamshell releases, these came out around, I'd say around the late 90s to the early 2000s. Of course, if you own many of the Nickelodeon VHSs here, Rugrats, the Rugrats movie, and Rugrats in Paris, that had an ad for the Peanuts collection on home video. So, printed the 40th week of 2000. Here's Be My Valentine, Charlie Brown. This one is a later, like an earlier release compared to the other ones from 1996. Though mine is a bit of a later print, as you may tell from the label. Printed the 51st week of 1997. Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. Printed the 31st week of 2001. So this is a much later print. It's the Easter Beagle Charlie Brown, my personal favorite of the Charlie Brown specials. Printed the 8th week of 2001. And the last one is It's the Pied Piper Charlie Brown. This is the most notable one, as this is the last of the specials where Charles Schultz himself would write the script. When this came out, he would sadly pass away in February of 2000. This also contains a little documentary of Schultz dedicating his work, the work of his, where the special is dedicating his works. My apologies. Printed the 38th week of 2000. Alright, so that's all the clamshells I have. Now let's get on to the slipcovers. Well, there is one other one, though this is a custom-made cover, though this is the actual movie inside, but let me show this off before I forget. Forrest Gump, the original VHS from 1995, I believe? Yeah, 1995. It originally came in a slipcover, though I decided to make a custom cover for it. So I tried to make it as close to the original cover as best as I can. Though the tape inside is fully original. Printed the 15th week of 1995. Also put this here on the back. Well-known stock art of Forrest Gump. Classic movie regardless. Okay, now we're on to slipcovers. We're going to start with the Nickelodeon stuff. I only have a few, so I'm just going to go through a bunch of them. Here we got SpongeBob SquarePants Spongerama. Pretty much a compilation of 5 episodes. Printed the 26th week of 2003. SpongeBob SquarePants Laugh Your Pants Off. Printed 26th week of 2003, my mistake. SpongeBob SquarePants, The Sponge Could Fly. This is the last of the SpongeBob cassettes I own. Of course, it contains the Double Aim Special, which is kind of the reason why I bought it. This is a much later print from the 24th week of 2004. Here's the only Rugrats compilation tape I have. I used to own a Rugrats Vacation ages ago, but I don't know where that went. Rugrats Bedtime Bash. Printed the 51st week of 1997. Here we have Grease, the classic Paramount musical from 1978. This here is a later print from, 1998, where it was digitally mastered with THX. Oh yeah, mine is a Columbia House release, so it doesn't contain a print date. Here we have Grease 2. Yeah, it's not good at all, but I wanted to feel complete, so I bought the sequel. This release here is from 1990. Printed. This is a much later print from the 45th week of 1997. Here's Airplane, classic Paramount comedy. This VHS is from 1992. Printed the 32nd week of 1992. Here we have An Officer and a Gentleman, classic Paramount film right here. Also produced by Laura Mara Productions. This VHS is from 1990. Though mine seems to well, this is an older Paramount style label. Back then, let me grab another one to give you an example. As you may see, back then, Paramount stuck with vertical sticker labels as opposed to their later horizontal labels, which is interesting. This seems to be a later release as part of earlier release, my bad, to celebrate Paramount's 75th anniversary from 1986. This was printed, if I can read it, the 50th week of 1990. This here is the oldest Paramount VHS I own, although it's a later print somewhat. The Last of the Red Hot Lovers. Now, of course, I did not buy it for the movie or the name. This is what Paramount used to, their packaging. This is what their packaging used to be. You could say it's similar to Columbia Pictures' older VHS releases, where it has a flap. See? Here's the tape itself. Yeah, mine is a later print from the 3rd week of 1989. But still, I'm just very happy that this is in its original package. The next couple of releases are Star Trek films, because of course I have to have a couple of their movies. Here's Star Trek the Motion Picture. This is the special longer edition. This came out in 1980. This VHS that came out in 1989. Here's the tape. Printed the 29th week of 1989. I love the cover though. It's really a definite Star Trek cover. Here's Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Pretty revolutionary film right here, as this contains some of the very first CGI ever seen in a movie. Of course, that very first, it was Future World. It's an actual CG model of Ed Catmull's hand. If you watch the Pixar story, you'll understand. I believe this one is an original release, because I don't see a printing on here whatsoever. Yeah, here's the tape. Recorded on Scotch videotape. Your assurance of quality. Really. I suppose this came out in the mid-80s, from the looks of it. Here's Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. The 20th week of 1990. Here we have Shane. This is part of the Best of the West collection. Of course, a collection of Paramount's most well-known Western films. This came out in 1953. And this VHS came out in 1996. Mine is a later print from the 13th week of 1998. Here we got Patriot Games, starring Harrison Ford. Classic Paramount movie right here. This movie came out in 1992. Here's the label. Mine is a later print from the 43rd week of 1993. And it also came with this little insert. 184 sensational titles at Omi prices. I don't know, because I know 20th Century Fox did those selection releases, and they were like $10 a pop, so I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty much a catalog of many of Paramount's releases that were on sale. But yeah, this is still a neat little insert, regardless. Here we have Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. Along with the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, this is the oldest or latest release from Paramount on VHS that I own. And it's not a rental. This is like full on bought from a store. There's no stickers involving like rental markets. No, I'm just shocked it's such in good shape, regardless. Printed the 11th week of 2005. Here we have a 2-tape set. Braveheart, starring Mel Gibson. This is one of Paramount's first releases on VHS, following their acquisition from Viacom. At least as far as I'm aware. Here's the tapes. And I believe they both have the same week and year code. Yeah, they do. Mine is a later print from the 10th week of 1998. But yeah, that's Braveheart. Here we have a personal favorite Paramount film, Wayne's World. This release is from 1993. I believe. No, it was 1992. The movie and the VHS. Of course, as you may know, some of the music has been changed from this release, of course, due to copyright reasons, which is a given. But still, regardless, Wayne's World is an absolute classic. Printed the 29th week of 1992. Here's Ferris Bueller's Day Off, starring Matthew Broderick. This release is also from 1992. Of course, it came out in 1986 in theaters. Printed the 48th week of 1997, so it's a later print. Here we got The Hunt for Red October, starring Sean Connery and Alec Baldwin. This initially came out back in 1990, though mine is a later print. There are versions of this tape where it came with a red cassette and a red label. I would love to find myself a copy. But yeah, here's the label. Printed the 46th week of 1997. Alright, the next ones are the Indiana Jones trilogy. First one, of course, Raiders of the Lost Ark from 1981. This is a release from 1989. Printed the 48th week of 1989. Here we got Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Wonderful box art for all three of them, mind you. This was released back in 1984. Though mine is a later print from 1991, I believe. Yep, the 40th week of 1991. And then Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade from 1989. Mine might be a original print too. The third week of 1990. But yeah, very happy of owning all three films of VHS. Here we have Charlotte's Web, the classic Hanna-Barbera film from 1973. This was not their first film. It was Hey There, It's Yogi Bear. But this is one of the many others they made by mistake. This here is a McDonald's release. Paramount did this promotion with McDonald's where you can buy a bunch of their movies on VHS. One of them was Wayne's World, believe it or not. Wayne's World, The Addams Family. Pretty weird, but yeah, it's still fascinating. Especially with the label, where the ink is McDonald's related colors. And on the bottom here, purchased at McDonald's, not for resale or rental. Printed the 35th week of 1993. So I believe this release is... this release is from 1993. Here we have Top Gun from 1986. Classic film here by Ridley Scott. Of course, like I said, the sequel, John Maverick, is wonderful too. I believe the one I have here is also an original release from 1987. Yeah, I believe so. Printed the 12th week of 1987. Here we have The Godfather. This release is from 1990. Of course, it's a pretty revolutionary film from Francis Ford Coppola. Of course, it's a 2-tape set. As for the week and year codes, tape 2 is the 49th week of 1990, and the first tape is the 50th week of 1990. Let me put them in the right way that way. But yeah, that's The Godfather. Now here's one I never got a chance to show. Now that I realize it, Young Sherlock Holmes. Um, Sadly, this film did not do well back when it came out. I mean, it did great with reviews, but it flopped when it terms to box office numbers. It's a shame because, of course, it has that scene with the glass sculpture or the glass knight. Of course, that was fully made in CG, where it was animated by John Lasseter and Bill Reeves. Hell, even today, that still impresses me. The Waking Year Code is the 36th week of 1987. This next one's probably my favorite of the Paramount releases I have. Ghost. Let me explain. I mean, it's a good enough movie as it is. I mean, Whoopi Goldberg stars, and I cannot deny that. But here's the thing: it's the tape itself that's interesting. It's white. it's it's great, legit. Now, you can only get these white tapes if it's the original release, because later prints came in the regular standard Paramount tape labels. Printed the 16th week in 1991. And the last tape of the Paramount collection I own, Titanic, of course, from James Cameron. The best-selling VHS of all time, this and The Lion King. Well, the initial Masterpiece Edition release. Of course, I own a copy as well. Who doesn't? It was the former highest-grossing film of all time before Avatar took it. And funny, because both films are from James Cameron. It's a great-looking box, too. Here's the tape. Printed August 19th, 1998. And tape 2. Printed August 12th, 1998. This also came with a little insert here for Sprint. I usually keep it in between the two tapes to keep it as safe as I could. But yeah, that was Titanic. And there you go. That's my entire collection of Paramount movies. Well, actually, there's one more. Give me a minute. I absolutely forgot about this one. Irving Berlin's White Christmas. This is a part of the Paramount 75th Anniversary Special Collector's Edition releases. Give me these black slipcovers with gold outlines. They look really nice on a shelf, I'm not gonna lie. Here's the tape. Printed October 26th, 1986. Yeah, I forgot to add this one into the mix. Okay, that's actually it. That's all of the Paramount movies I own on VHS. Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys will like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Hope you also take a look at my social media. Until then, I hope you guys will enjoy the spring. In a couple of weeks, it will be summer. Lord knows what could happen next. Till then, be safe.